Hello, everybody. It's Christine and Brooke. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is video number
4.
It's actually 4. What we're going to do today, the sections we're going to work on are upgrade your mindset, name what matters, make decisions, and then the ad-lib page, which the ad-lib page essentially kind of takes in, no, that's the next video, isn't it?
Not where you have the sticker.
Oh, shoot. Okay, and then brainstorm our goals. Okay, that's what our plan is. Maybe we'll move that to the next one because I think that's kind of stuck in the next. So maybe we won't do this page actually today. So actually, let's say that for the moment. All right. So as you guys have been seeing, we kind of go just real quickly. If you want to go back, I have created a playlist. I'll try to drop that link here. But basically, working on Power Sheets, which is a goal setting system for 2025. It's by Cultivate What Matters. We have gone through and did brainstorm our year ahead, which is kind of interesting because you kind of do write a bunch of like, what do you want to cultivate type stuff, which is almost goals, but not exactly. But basically. I do not know why I scribbled that like that. That's really strange. But I was kind of, what am I willing to sacrifice for? I probably should have written some notes, honestly. I may go back and do that. I'm just going back to the stuff we did before. I'm just showing them what we did before.
I see.
What fires us up? We kind of went through that. Learn from the past, which is what last year. So the idea is you don't change what you don't measure kind of stuff. So you got to kind of write down how was this year. Good things, challenges, lessons, gratitude. Then last video, we actually went through and rated our 8 categories, what they call them, cultivate life categories or something like that. So we went through and rated those, and I showed you guys how we use the tool Cultivated Life Evaluation Guide. So we went through and used that. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that video. And now we're on to this section, which again is cultivate your mindset. So honestly, you can read this paragraph here, but it just says, have you ever felt like too much or not enough? What do you believe about yourself? For example, if you dream of owning your own business and believe you have something unique to offer, you'll keep taking those steps forward. But if you don't believe you have anything to offer, well, you may not make any steps forward. So how do you change that? Well, this is a really cool point. I see a lot of stuff on Instagram about it and this and that, which is words matter, both the ones in our head and the ones we say out loud. I saw something not too long ago that says, if you would not say the words to your best friend, so you have a friend, you love her, whatever, would you say to her, oh my God, you're so fat, you need to lose weight? Would you say that to her? And if you wouldn't say it to her, don't say it to yourself. So those are that's kind of setting the stage for the exercise that we're going to be doing. So what we're going to do is work through these little pieces here. So the first thing it says to us, what has shaped your beliefs about your identity? And the idea is to look at this and go, okay, what do you think has done that? What has shaped your beliefs about your identity? So let's look at our choices here. And maybe you can say you agree or disagree. I'm going to mark, you can mark 1, you can mark more than 1, whatever. So would you say that comparing yourself to others has shaped your beliefs about your identity?
Are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking. What do you think?
I mean, I think I do it, but I don't know if it makes my identity change.
Okay.
Because that's a pretty strong thing.
Well, like thinking about if you have a particular goal and you go, I'd like to do that, but then you think, well, I'm not as good as XYZ person.
Yeah.
I probably can't reach that goal because she did it, but I'm not like that. I'm going to definitely mark it for myself. I do not. No. Social media for me is not a thing. I enjoy looking at it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I fall in the comparison trap too much. I enjoy seeing things and all that, and it does maybe offer me some aspirations, but I don't know that social media hurts me like that. What others have said about you? Not really. Not for me. My childhood, my parents, definitely 100%. My faith, I'm going to say yes. I wish this actually impacted me even more because as a Christian, we believe we're a daughter of God and we have value just from that perspective. But there's a lot of other promises and things that we get and I don't think I embrace them enough. I will say that it does shape my identity, but maybe not as much as it should. My past performance, I'm going to say yes. And your spouse or partner, does it shape your identity? That's an interesting question because I've been married a really, really long time. But I wouldn't suggest that he shapes my identity other than in the way of my, that I am a wife. I'm going to say yes, but not in a way like he doesn't say to me, you're this or you're that. It's more like, this is who I am in that relationship. What about you? Any comments on those sections?
No, I think
Or
I only did the comparing yourself to others. I did put social media, and I put faith.
Okay.
So.
All right, so our next section then is contemplating those. It says, upgrading a limiting mindset can free you to pursue your most purposeful year. Name any negative thought patterns below, and then how you might reframe them. So as an example, I'm bad with money might become, I'm learning to manage my money. I'm lazy and unorganized might become, I'm learning to take care of my home. Okay. I think actually, I'm going to have to think on this one just a minute.
You have to speed.
So I think I'm going to stop the camera and we'll speed it up a little bit while we work, and then we'll come back on. Okay, and sorry you guys, I can't put music over the time lapses because I tried to and YouTube got mad and said I was violating copyright even though it was part of my iMovie. So anyway, sorry for the strange quiet parts. Okay, I think that I pulled these out because we may want to use these. I think I want you to start this time because I always start. So why don't you start with your negative mindset, and then what do you?
And I think share all of them.
You don't have
a couple,
just a couple.
I said I'm not good enough, and then for a tip for this side, I actually used ChatGPT, and I said, "Can you turn this into a positive mindset?" And it said, "I'm learning every day," and then another thing was, "I'm never going to be successful," and it says every day, or I'm sorry, "I'm growing and learning every day in business and in life." Another one I said was, "I am impatient." So it says, "I'm learning to be more patient and understanding every day." So.
Interesting. Okay. My issue, I tend to write too big. I just told her I may take this over into a journaling page and maybe expand on some of this a little bit. But I'll read some of these. So I put, I'm not fit. And I said, I'm working to improve my health. I'm consistent in my pursuit of wellness. So some of this is a little bit of a, what I want to say, like a future mindset in a sense of like, it's that way to say it that's like, it's already happened, but even though technically you're still kind of getting there. So I kind of said, I'm consistent in my pursuit of wellness. I don't have the discipline to stick to my plans. I said, I'm using the tools and resources I have to keep me on track little by little, which kind of ties back into our goal setting. I kind of like this one. It says, my house is in constant disarray. If you know me at all, I'm a neat freak. It drives me a little bananas if it's not neat. So I kind of I have to switch that a little bit. So I said, my home is well lived in and has signs of love and family. And, like I'm nickel and dime myself to death. I said, I'm good at tracking money and using tools to grow our retirement and meet some goals. So again, the whole idea here is you got to switch your mindset. If you have to do things because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the idea here. Let's switch our mindset. Let's be positive. So we believe that we're worthy of the goals we're setting, I guess. Okay. Next section. Name what matters. Oh, also, I'm going to go back later and maybe we'll go back in a future video. And I pulled these out. These are actually older ones. I have newer ones this year. We just picked up the finance and wellness ones. But there's also these older goal setters that we've got. I think they still have them, in their shop. But basically you can use these to kind of pretty your page, right? So if you want to like, even possibly, I don't know if any of this fits in a particular category, but you could do that. Like you could take the little hearts, the little dots, whatever, flowers, things like that. So I may come back in later and do that, and we'll show you guys later. Okay. Name what matters. So when you've named what matters, let's flip this over. Name what matters. When you've named what matters, you can set goals that act as a compass, pointing you toward a vision and helping you live it out today. These are the cultivated goals, goals that build a legacy. So I would actually suggest, if you're using these tools, maybe sometimes use a highlighter that shows you keywords as you're reading these things. So legacy to me, vision. The good you do today has the potential to change generations. Be bold and plant one small seed today by getting clear on your big picture. So the key is your big picture, right? You have everything you need. Dig in. Imagine yourself many years from now, looking back on the whole of your life. I always like to say 80 years. When you're 80 years old, where will you be grateful you spent your time and attention? Defining this will give you motivation and passion for living out this vision now with your 2025 goals. So it's like, where do you want to be many years from now, right? So as an example, what will have mattered? Close relationships with my kids, opening my home to others, mentoring the next generation. What won't have mattered? What other people are doing on social media, getting one more thing done, how early I retired. I almost challenged this one a little bit, only because if you never retire or something, that could drive some of your vision of your future. So I almost challenge that just a tad. I think what they're saying in this here is the goal of retiring at 58 years old or whatever. If you're doing it just for the sake of being 58 when you retire, that might not be it's not as meaningful. But if you're doing it so you can go live with your RV and travel with your spouse and travel the country or something like that, maybe that's a little more important. So let's go back. Let's go on fast forward here and fill these two little sections out. What will have mattered when I'm 80, 85 years old, and what won't have mattered. Okay, you keep pulling yours out of frame.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'll go through things that I said what will have mattered, and then I'll talk about things that won't have mattered. So some of the what will have mattered I think is fairly, I should make this assumption. I don't know if everybody has the same stuff, but I think some of them are pretty similar because they even mention it here. But basically I said what will have mattered is quality time with Greg, quality time with my family, a strong faith. I want to run the race. That's an allusion to a scripture. Enjoy the blessings I have. Technically this should go over here, but it's like not wishing for things I don't. Leaving a financial legacy for Brooke. That's important to me. There's reasons behind that. I want to get off into this video, but there's a reason for that. Being remembered as a great mom, wife, friend, daughter, sister. Seeing a world that God created. And I kind of mean by that, I don't want to be stuck inside all the time in the one spot. I want to travel and go see different things. And impacting those around me with the gospel. What won't have mattered are the little irritants of others, and especially Greg and Brooke. So meaning, for example, like if somebody happens to leave the toothpaste, Greg does not do this actually, but if the person leaves the toothpaste cap off, like that should not be a deal breaker for relationships. Those little irritants are irrelevant. So that's the kind of little stuff I'm talking about. Just don't worry about the little things. What was posted on the internet, generally speaking, that shouldn't matter. I see a lot of TikToks where people defend themselves against this video or that video. It's like, why are you doing that? Like that's... Okay. Did I meet every deadline? Probably not over lifetime. And does that really matter? Probably not. All the corporate meetings I belong to, I can't tell you how many ones I go into, and there's just so many buzzwords and stuff. I think it is important to do a good job. I think you owe yourself, and even the Lord says you should be, work for me, not for basically you're not working for your company, you're working to glorify God. So the meetings themselves are silly, but they don't really mean a lot. How much stuff we accumulated, what car I drove, things along those lines. I'm kind of just encapsulating that because I think something like this is not tied to this. That's not the same thing at all. So for me, those are what will have mattered, what won't have mattered. What do you put down there?
I have kind of similar. So what will have mattered, I have time with loved ones, experience/travels, my relationship with Christ, generosity, my relationship with my husband, the impact of my business, being able to move my body and live a healthy life when I get older and even now, and then living financially free as well. It's passing on wealth. And then what won't have mattered is social media, having a bunch of materialistic things, finishing to-do list, and what everyone else is doing.
Good job. Okay. All right, so we're kind of getting into thinking about our future, right? Now this page here is make decisions to own where you'll spend your time. So this is the key to me, this phrase, spend your time. So thinking about where we have spent our time, what matters in the big picture, you're ready to make some decisions about where you'll spend your time this year, where you won't. So what are we going to spend time on? Yes, they got examples of morning bike rides, candles at dinner, cheering others on. I'm not sure if candles at dinner is what you're saying time is. It spend time, but maybe lighting the candles or something like that.
It has to do with probably the vibe.
And then no to buying stuff I don't need, rushing others, believing I'm not enough. So that's a little bit interesting. I like to use the spend the time as an example too. But on the other hand, I'm going to add, the first thing I put here is gluten and sugar. That's a little bit present to me because I've had a doctor tell me, I've got to do some things, and the first thing we got to do is eliminate all the gluten and the sugar. Okay, actually, I'm going to put this on fast forward while we think, and I'll be back on in a second. Okay, you guys, I'll be frank with you. This is another one. I could think more on this one, but this list I could definitely grow. Do you want to go first this time? Because I went first last time.
Yeah, I'll just read a couple. So what I'm saying yes to, I said productivity, brain dump, and planning, creating traditions, time with Seth, the time with God. And then I'll read something from down here. Patience, watching my tongue, because I have kind of an attitude sometimes, and representing Proverbs 31 woman, tithing, doing daily chores. That sounds weird, but I sent it to you. It's like
yeah, I get it. It's like the fly, it's like fly lady kind of deal where you're doing a daily,
so it doesn't get overwhelming. I used to do that when we lived by ourselves, but then I got out of routine because it's a whole house, so it gets a little overwhelming. What I'm saying no to unnecessary scrolling. Can I interrupt you?
What do you mean by memories?
Well, just
I
one,
like that, but
I
I'm
think
curious.
being more present, and two, just you think about I don't know, when you're a kid and you remember all these things. I think it just goes back to being present, because I have noticed I've gotten into the really bad habit of just scrolling, and I think you've also posted a comment. I think it hurts Seth feeling, and I think it's just I don't want to be bored, which boredom's good sometimes. So eliminating unnecessary scrolling. Sometimes it's okay. It's an inspiration or whatever, but it's okay, you get your limit of 10 minutes and that's it.
I will say, not to get too much on a tangent, but I did limit I had to do it on TikTok, especially because what it is about TikTok, I guess because they're all the little short snippets.
It's brain dopamine dump, yes.
So I've limited my app time on the phone, and that's working really well. I'm actually under my limit now every day. I've only hit it one time, so I'm under the limit. I may shrink my limit a little bit. Well,
I've also noticed, I know this is kind of random, but when I do YouTube instead, it actually, because my attention span had gone away, and I've started doing YouTube. I like vlogs and stuff, but I've noticed that actually affected, because I was realizing I'm becoming super impatient, because it was and actually it's a whole thing. But anyways, so unnecessary scrolling is a big one. Gluten and sugar, we kind of have similar issues. Unnecessary spending, not that we do a lot, but we have some really big goals financially, so just really rushing. I've noticed I kind of feel unprepared a lot, so making sure what I have to do tomorrow, things like this, and letting things pile up. And then dirty or clutter. I'm not really a dirty person, but I do think I have clutter, so really going through that kind of stuff. And then the dirtiness would probably be my car.
Oh my gosh, I totally wrote that. Okay, so for me, I had a kind of a good sized list. I'm going to come through, like I said, with markers and stuff. But I've got reading more. I used to read all the time.
You did,
I used to read all the time. I don't really read anymore, and that kind of breaks my heart.
Dollar bookstore.
I know, right? Actually, we could put that as a goal. We could go to the bookstore once every a month or something like that and pick up books.
So much.
Consistent Bible. I've had that as a goal every year. And sometimes I'm more successful than others. I'll go through a streak where I'm really good, and then I'll fall off.
And I've done that too, but I've heard a thing is what you put your most time in is where your heart lies.
Yeah.
And also the person said you just how Dad starts his day with the gym. They're you have to start your day with the Bible.
The thing, yeah.
Because otherwise it's gonna get pushed off. Or if you're I'll read it before I go to bed, you're usually gonna get tired, or something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So.
I wrote outside time. I go outside, but not nearly as much as I should, if I'm honest, because we're on this land and there's no reason not to be outside. I stay in my room a lot, so I need to get outside more. And honestly, I think that's going to be tied into setting a goal of like a daily walk every day outside.
I like what that our neighbor said, which was like every couple hours, pause it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They're also in great shape.
Yeah, our neighbors, by the way, the gentleman is 86 and the lady's 80, and they are outside every day doing yard work, doing this. They still go dancing.
You would never know.
You would never know that's their age. Building community, so it actually is funny that we're talking about the neighbors. I don't like feeling so isolated sometimes. Working from home, that's very easily done. And honestly, I put down here connecting at work. So even though I'm working from home, there's still ways. They actually have some resource groups and some, ways to kind of connect with people. And I don't really take advantage of that. I would like to make sure I have an active lifestyle. I mean, it's not like I sit on my ass all the time, but, I still need to make sure I'm making sure that's definitely in.
I want to buy that dang walking pad.
Yeah. A beautiful, welcoming home. That is something that's important to me.
You have that.
I'm saying yes to it, right?
I was like,
because I kind of want to entertain others. I'd like to start having a regular
I
gathering.
I thought of that too.
So a fresh Whole Foods. Not that we eat too much anymore. I mean, we really don't, but I want to make sure we're doing there. And disciplined finances. I mean, we make good money, but I think there's always, sometimes when you make good money, you tend to make silly decisions too, because you just go, oh, I could just buy that. Well, that's not really wise. So I want to make sure I'm good there. Tithing, loving others as they are. Connecting more with family and friends, connecting at work, and then the brain dump. We actually did get that journal, and I've been using it, and it's working for me. So I'll make sure I say yes to that. So again, saying no to gluten and sugar. Hours of screen time. I'm not quite as bad, I think, but at the same time, I try to limit myself. I tend to get on YouTube, but then I watch a lot of scrapbooking videos and news and stuff.
I mean, you don't want to be an iPad kid at dinner.
Yeah.
But
Also, I tend to run it when it's like in the background, as it were.
I do that too if I'm baking.
And I don't know if that's bad. I don't think that's necessarily bad.
Music.
But yeah. I'm saying no to impatience and criticism. So I'm just going to be real. There's a couple people in my life that I tend to be more critical of.
No,
I was actually thinking of my mom. I tend to criticize her a lot, and I don't like that. I don't like that about myself. So I want to change that. Busy work. So I find sometimes, I'll have a list of things, and I always do like the thing that's honestly probably the least important on the list because it's easy. So I need to make sure I'm not just doing busy work. Eat the frog. Silly spending. Just watch my Amazon shopping, y'all. It is so easy to hit friggin' checkout cart or whatever. So, and then procrastination, again, I think having my brain dump book is helping a lot, but even that, I've seen myself move the same item from list to list, and it's like there's a whole thing around getting things done. It's like if you continue to move something, do you really need to do it? You need to either just delete it or do it. Like if you've moved it like 3 times, you need to delete it or do it because you're clearly not going to. And then a dirty car. Like I have my car's, I'm trying to keep this thing till the wheels fall off. And I don't really drive a lot, but then I do let it get kind of dirty, and I don't like that. I always like a clean car, so.
I think similar to house, just setting it on a schedule.
just setting it on a schedule.
Clean it here.
Should have put in here, and I just started running out of room, but I want to make sure I'm kind of more consistently also taking care of getting haircuts. I need to start being a little more consistent with dentists. Just some self-care. Maybe I should need to put on here self-care. Yeah. And when I say self-care, I'm not talking about, fingernails or getting your nails done kind of stuff. I mean, like legitimately taking care of my body in the sense of like dentist and things along those lines.
I think you did by going to the doctor.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time to fill out our most purposeful year. This is the ad lib page. There's actually a pretty little page here. It says grow what lasts longer than you. That's kind of an interesting thing. That's like a whole legacy thing. That's what it say. So looking at this, I'm going to put this on fast forward so we can fill this out. And we'll come back on and read them out loud. Okay, everybody. I decided not to put the time-lapse thing on because we were just kind of filling in the blanks or whatever. I'll go first, and then I'll let you go. Okay. So, I'll do the ad-lib piece here, let's say. It says, my name is Christine. I dream of being a healthy, loving wife, mom, grandma, and Christian. This year, I'm focusing on my health, my home, my relationships, and my faith. I'm deciding that I can, and I'll prove it to myself with small wins. I will do this by saying yes to healthy food, regular activity, smart financial choices, and spiritual mindfulness, and saying no to processed foods, negative words, and sedentary days. I will let go of past hurts, foods that don't serve me, screen time, and feelings of inadequacy, and fill my life with more connections, joy, people, and nature. When I'm tired, overwhelmed, and want to quit, I will remember I can do all things through Christ, and it's okay to rest when I need to. I commit to pivoting over planning and progress over perfection, which will add up to a legacy of grace and unexpected successes. And I put in parentheses God's plans because sometimes we make a plan, but He has better ones. So I think sometimes when you're having to pivot, frankly, life happens, right? I mean, sometimes, like last year, I didn't have on our goals to move, and then we moved. So sometimes things happen, and I like this pivoting over planning, progress over perfection, and then you have unexpected things, right? So I'll live my vision for this year by focusing on what matters, which is faith, family, and appreciating my blessings. And my definition of success, I'm kind of filling in the blank here. What they mean by my definition of success for 2025, let's say, is finishing healthier with strong relationships, a homestead started, and reducing our mortgage. That's a very specific goal. But my husband is very keen on that. And so I think meeting that goal, it also kind of helps like my husband's mental health. Okay. What about you?
My name is Brooke. I dream of being a loving, God-fearing woman, wife, mom, daughter who lives her God-given purpose. This year I'm focusing on time management, finances, habits and routines, being present, my new marriage, and joy. I'm deciding that I can and I'll prove myself with small wins. I'll do this by saying yes to brain dumps, productivity, organization, date nights, and traditions, and saying no to unnecessary screen time, spending to-dos, as well as having a limited mindset. I will let go of my belief of not being good enough or not ready, and fill my life more with Christ, friendships, focusing on more than just the financial successes, and being present. When I'm tired, overwhelmed, and want to quit, I remember my impact on others and my big why. I commit to pivoting over planning and progress over perfection, which will add up to a legacy of financial freedom, loving relationships, and Christ-filled life. I'll live my vision for this year by focusing on what matters, which is Jesus, loved ones, and joy. My definition of success is living. I thought it was for like my life. So.
That's okay. I think it's fine. It's whatever your mindset says.
My definition of success is living a Christ-filled life that leaves a legacy behind of love, generosity, and joy.
I think that's beautiful. I think honestly, I will comment though. That's a really good point. When you're filling out your power sheets or setting your goals or whatever, it is what speaks to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like anything, it's like, what speaks to you. And for me, that was like, okay, specifically for 2025, this is what I was thinking. She's thinking of it for her life. And I think that's totally fine. Okay, you guys. So the next video is going to be brainstorming our goals, which I think in some ways is going back to some of, where was it at here? Book. And we can use, yes, that's the other thing we do have is the Quick Start Guide. So the Quick Start Guide, and y'all, we're not affiliates or anything. I'm honestly just showing you this stuff in case you get stuck or whatever. This little guide here is really good. They have this split up by category. Like this is community. And then it gives you some ideas, like monthly action idea, or like big dream ideas.
Which I like a lot.
Monthly action ideas, stuff like that. So this is really helpful. And essentially even helps with your tending list, right? Because there's weekly action, daily action. But the big ones are the big dream goal, finish line goal things. And I will tell you, you made a comment. Sometimes it's a little bit hard because it's not as measurable. Like this one, cultivate friendships, but it does help you create actions.
Yeah, and I think you can use ChatGPT too.
Yeah, she's a fan of ChatGPT. I am too, although I will say. Okay, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching.
See you next time.
We will be here next. I'm posting these on Thursdays, so you will see you guys next Thursday. Thanks. Bye-bye.